Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and over there in the red corner is Connor.
Really, this is a great start.
Is that the third week in a row I've almost called you Corner?
No, I think you got away with it last week. I think it was the two before that.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that going. You're just your corner now.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Anyway, so we talk about DC shows. Obviously, we had the Arrow finale last week, so there's no Arrow this week, which, that's nice. That's fun.
My liver appreciated it.
But we do have, of course, Supergirl. We have the season finales of both The Flash and Krypton. Plus, we have the season finale of Season 1 of Young Justice, which is just a coincidence that happens to be the season finale as well, because we're just working through that in retrospect. But, yeah, so we got a bunch of finales. It does mean that next week's episode will be Supergirl as the one new thing, and then you'll get a Smallville, a Lois and Clark, and a Young Justice.
Yeah, but we're moving into the off-season now.
Yeah, weird content for a few weeks. Cause it's weird having Supergirl still, but whatever. I'll take it. Something exciting to talk about. So that's what's coming up on the show this week. And yeah, one little bit of news, which is good news, is that Krypton got renewed for season 2 by Sci-Fi. So that's cool. Especially now that I've seen the finale, I'm especially glad that it got renewed.
I am too, although I'd have been pretty disappointed if it hadn't anyway.
That's fair,
it's been shockingly good.
But cliffhangers and stuff.
Cliffhangers be a thing, yeah.
Yes. So that's cool. But that was it. That was it in terms of news this week. I mean, obviously, it's nothing compared to the last couple of weeks when we had Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing and everything else being announced. So, but hey, so that's pretty much it. So obviously we have some finales and stuff, so I imagine that the episode discussions may be a bit more meaty than normal, so we'll get right into it. So Supergirl up for season 3, episode 19. It's called The Fanatical. So full spoilers for each episode as we talk about it, of course. I thought this was pretty good. I think I have a couple of nitpicks here or there.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a while it's been feeling like they've had nothing to do with Jimmy, and I feel like, this was actually a nice little plot for him.
Yeah, a little clunky and overwritten, as Supergirl often is when it tackles such issues.
It does. It's not afraid to tackle big issues, but it does get a little bit clunky with them at times. The scene that I thought was a bit clunky was the one where after he's been unmasked and we've had the standoff with the police where they're pointing the gun out. I thought that scene was fine. That worked great. Just having the police pointing the guns at him. I thought that really made its point. I thought, oh damn, it's going here. I was proud of the show. I was proud of it. And then the next scene with Tanya, where she says, "Oh, it happened to my father or my brother." Okay, we get it. You don't have to explain it too much.
Yeah, and I thought the scene with Jimmy telling Lena, like, the first time he was in handcuffs, and that whole 2-3 minute speech, like, it's a bit much. I
like that scene more than the Tanya scene, though, because I thought the acting in that scene was quite good.
No, it was a better scene, but because we'd already had the other scene as well, fair. It was just like more, and I'm like, okay, we don't need it all in one go.
I like the start of that Tanya scene with her being like, "Man, you're Guardian," like her excitement of that was actually really kind of like. It was contagious. It was like, yeah, this is actually. I'm excited that he's Guardian for a change. I mean, hell, he got his Batman cave thing in the elevator where it opens up and the suit's there, and then he's got his motorbike. Like, they gave him a whole little vigilante thing this episode.
They did.
Yeah, and so I thought the start of the scene was good, but I do think the Lena scene worked quite well. It was just maybe dampened by the fact that we already had that other scene. But the acting was quite good on it, and I did especially like the scene towards the end, because obviously he's basically held he's blackmailed in this episode. We're like, hey, give us Tanya back. This is the cult that she's escaped from, that Coville ran, and she stole this book because she's trying to like, hey, they're trying to do this dangerous thing, and because I joined up at first because I was safe with Supergirl. It seemed fun, it seemed nice, and then Rain shows up, and all of a sudden it turns into this death cult. I'm not for it, right?
Yeah,
I'm on your side, Supergirl. So
it sounds like every cult ever to me.
It kind of does, actually. But here's your book of Row, or not Row, but the all the evil stuff, the witches, not witches, you know what I mean. I was calling them witches early in the season, but they're not actually witches. But and yeah, so and Jimmy's like, well, they're going to expose who I am. They've got footage of me with my helmet off, and he's at one point he's like, you know what, I'm just going to get ahead of this. I'm just going to make an announcement. And I like the speech at the end with Supergirl, where he's like, I understand why you have a secret identity, and I think, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's weird saying, oh, you have a secret identity to protect all of us. It's a little bit strange when almost everyone knows already.
Do you know what I love most about this? Is him saying, you do it to protect us. I get that. But I'm going to go ahead and do it to expose myself anyway. So all of you guys are screwed. It's kind of
Okay, that's one way of looking at it, but I did like the idea that he actually wants to unmask at some point to inspire other people, but specifically young black people who don't necessarily have the hero to look up to.
yeah.
Because it is worth mentioning, on this Earth, there's no... You know, all of our other examples from Supergirl, from Arrow and Flash.
Yeah, no,
You
that's
know,
true.
as far as we know, there is no black superheroes on this Earth. We've not met any yet.
We've not, no.
Yeah. But I liked his little speech. He's like, no, inspire. It's kind of like the whole idea of representation in media in the first place is like the idea that they've got someone to look up to. That's they've got a heroic figure that they can they can strive to be and see themselves in, and it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a nice heroic little message. Like you say, it was a bit clunky. The same with Tanya, with her talking about her brother and father going through it was a bit much.
I think hurts the show a little bit more as well is that we just saw all of this on Black Lightning
done better. Yeah,
just with more tact and just not really clunkily overwritten.
I think with Black Lightning, though, that's such a core theme of the show is dealing with those issues that it's just always there, and they tap into it so often that they don't have to do the entire message every time they tap into it. Whereas with Supergirl here, no, this is the one episode devoted to this.
And maybe that's the problem, though, right? Don't just do one episode devoted to it. Make this an arc, make this a journey.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want them to avoid it, and I don't want it to be either or. Like if it's either have the one episode of it or ignore it, I'd rather they do it.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so I guess it's just Black Lightning's also a network show, but Black Lightning felt a little bit more prestigious. It felt like it was striving.
It did, but I think they're both on the CW, so it's a fair comparison.
Oh no, it is. But what I'm saying by that is that Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow are all very thoroughly ingrained in network sort of sensibilities, for better or worse. Sometimes better, sometimes worse.
Yeah.
Usually worse, but sometimes it is better depending on what it is. There are some still strengths to some network TV. But hey, so yeah, some good stuff with that plot. The actual plot with the rock they were trying to make a world killer with this alien metal. And they also kind of realize, oh hey, we may be able to reverse Sam. We maybe actually make her just into Sam with this.
Yeah.
So they're very intrigued. Obviously, at the end of the episode, Mon-El and Supergirl are flying off in Jean's car to go collect a bit of metal. Now here's the biggest shock of this episode for me.
Go on.
I was agreeing and siding with Mon-El. He was saying things that were smart, and he was saying them to Supergirl, and he was in the right. See when he said to her, because she's like, oh, maybe I should just tell Lena, I'm Supergirl, and that'll clear all this up. And he's like, you know what, Kara, you're only going to do that because it'll make yourself feel better, not because it's actually the right thing to do. And I'm like, damn, Mon-El! Where was this Mon-El last season? Jesus Christ!
It's funny, we get to the end, when he's going into the car, and Jean says, you got older in the future, and wiser. I'm like, God damn it.
And I love that he's like, oh, maybe I should tell Kara that I'm still kind of struggling with feelings, and knowing that he's probably going to go back to his wife, or I hope he is. Jean's like, hey, no, you'll do that to make yourself feel better, so you probably shouldn't. And it's not necessarily better for her. And he's like, yeah, that was my advice too. Damn it.
You're saying, oh, you hope he goes back to his wife. I don't think they're going to.
I know. I don't think they're going to now either.
You know what, just a reasoning, just in terms of the production, is I noticed his suit. You know how I keep saying, oh, there's a place where there should be an emblem.
Oh, you think they're going to actually add one?
No.
What?
I think this was the suit that they were using for Superman,
and
they're just not allowed. They're not using Superman again, essentially. And because look at where the cape is. It's got the bulge where the S was. It's exact. I think it's exactly the same suit, and they've just repurposed it.
That makes sense. I don't think that necessarily proves that he's not going away. That could still just be a case of saving cost, even if he's leaving at the end of the season.
It could.
That's it.
I do think it means we're probably not getting Superman again, though.
Yeah. That said, I think he's sticking around. Or if we do, it means maybe they'll decide to change the suit a bit. I don't know. I don't think we'll go the whole show without getting Superman again, but it may be a while.
Yeah, maybe a while.
Yeah. So yeah, look at that. I didn't actually hate the Mon-El stuff in this episode. Most of it made sense. He was being useful. Hell, it was even kind of funny when they had their whole sting operation where they were setting up Tanya to be kidnapped, and Mon-El kind of comes in his mic and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, is this my Uber?"
Him being awful is so enjoyable.
It kind of is. And then the actual fight when Supergirl touches the rock and it makes her heat vision go haywire, and Mon-El's like grabbing, beams and stuff that are falling off the ceiling and all the rest of it. It was mostly kind of fun.
Yeah. I did laugh because you had the ironic cut where Supergirl's like, oh, it's Mon-El. He's the best. He can handle anything. And then it cuts to him, and it's just being awful basically in his act. But it's just going maybe not.
I like the idea that he's just pretending to be what he was last season. This isn't like this is just who I used to be.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for him.
Yeah. But no, that stuff kind of worked. And Supergirl, again, one of the things I like about Supergirl is sometimes she'll talk the villain down rather than just fight them, and she talks the girl down.
I think it was a little bit quick.
That's fair.
It's just like two little sentences, and it's like, okay, I guess I won't kill everyone.
That's fair. It's one of those things where I like the sentiment enough that I'm not going to nitpick it too much.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Where you may have some problems, because you've had some problems in this area for the last little while, is Supergirl and Lena's back and forth. Yeah. And Supergirl being pissed, again this time because Lena's developed this cloaking tech that works on Kryptonians, and not only that, hurts them if they try and use their X-ray vision. And Kara gets pissed about it, then goes and sees Jimmy, and she tries to talk to Lena as Supergirl, and Lena, like, again, she so knows. She flat out just says, like, hey, I would never enter a friendship with someone who's already betrayed my trust. Glance!
Oh, yeah, I know. Do you know what is annoying me so much about Kara with this stuff? Is she expects Lena to help and to contain Sam, this, or Rain, more accurately, this Kryptonian world killer, who is... we know how powerful she is. Supergirl knows she got the crap kicked out of her before Christmas. Just
worth mentioning, before we move on, the made-up kryptonite is starting to lose its effect. She's growing a resistance to it. So they've got a time limit now. They've got a time limit.
But the thing is, so she expects Lena to do all this and not innovate anything to do it. Because, of course, anything that she can do that will hold Rain will inevitably hold Supergirl as well. It's not, you can't do one or the other.
Oh no, I mean I said this before. Even though I like a lot of this plot more than you do, the one fundamental thing I agree on is that Kara's in the wrong. But I think that's kind of it wasn't as good as last week's episode though. With that scene in the elevator last week, I thought was great. Here it was a bit more murky. It was a bit.
I think the problem was last week. I thought, oh, okay, we're over this now. Kara's recognized that she's seen the lesson, right? That was the point. Is she was like, oh, okay, I can't just do this all the time.
Yeah.
And then she just immediately does the same thing again. And then again, she jumps down Jimmy's throat for telling Lena his secret. I'm like, well, it's kind of his thing to share, right?
Oh, no, it is. Yeah, I mean, I still think we're in the process of her seeing the effect of all her bullshit, because I think her trying to sort of apologise, because she does try to apologise after this. It's not like she apologises and then does this whole thing where she's mad at her about the whole cloak thing. She tries to apologise after that and tries to build a bridge, and he says, oh, maybe after all this is done we can try and regain some trust and stuff.
We ended last week on the we're good, right? That was like the somewhat apology. Supergirl was like, yeah, we can be good together, right?
Was that last week? I thought that was before Jimmy revealed his secret the week before.
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe it was. I'm mixing those up.
Yeah, I don't think that was last week.
No, fair enough.
I think Lena finding out that Supergirl asked Jimmy to do that is what changed that. It was like, oh no.
No, okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up the weeks.
Yeah, you're mixing that up. That's justifiable. That changing. But
yeah.
So no, I still think they're in the process of Kara now is because she's trying to befriend Lena again and it's not working. Lena's like, no, just no, bitch. That's basically her response. I think we're having the slow and admittedly maybe it's been dragging out a little bit too long because it's network TV and they do that. But I do kind of like the point it's making, even if this week wasn't as strong with it as last week's elevator scene was.
Yeah.
But hey, so that. So we also had the Ruby and Marin plot. So Ruby is, living with Alex. Surprise, surprise. Totally getting adopted. I mean, unless they save Sam. Maybe they'll save Sam. But
they're not. But let's be honest, they're not. Ruby's gonna live here.
Yeah, they're setting up Ruby. She's depressed. She's mopey. Alex even offers her to give her a motorcycle ride, which most people don't offer kids that young motorbike rides, right?
I don't know.
Okay, well, Sam probably wouldn't be happy about it, right? A lot of parents have a thing against motorbikes. It's a running thing.
It is, but I'm not sure how accurate it is and how much this is just a TV trope.
You may be right. It may just be... Honestly, I was never offered a motorbike ride, so I was never denied the request for a motorbike ride. I do not know. I never give a shit about motorbikes growing up. So, I mean, admittedly, I'm a little bit on the outside here, but I thought, oh, this was a cool offer from Alex. Yeah, I thought, oh, that'll be true. She's like, no, I don't want to do it. And she's, she's been a teenager. She's been a mopey teenager. And I was like, okay, where's this going? Like, is this going to annoy me? And, John's complaining. John's been doing some reading. He's like, I've been reading that apparently humans sometimes, like, it helps their mind to play 3D video games. And, like, we should go to an arcade, right? And I'm like, I feel like giving him a home console would be a safer option to explore this theory.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Get in, like, Guitar Hero or something.
Joe, I love the idea of, though. I love the idea that Jean or Alex don't own consoles. If they'd spoke to Win about this idea, he'd be like, oh, here, borrow my... because Win will probably have them all. Win's got the systems.
Yeah. I imagine the DEO gives him a reasonable salary, right? I should hope so, with the amount of work he does. Yeah,
but what I'm thinking is they just wouldn't even think of that because they don't play them. Whereas if they said to Win, he'd be like, oh, here's a PS4 and an Xbox and his gaming PC that he built himself.
He'll have a Switch in his bag.
Yeah. Let's be honest, Win has rigged like several gaming PCs in his life, but I can tell. He's got that sort of look to him. So he'd have stuff for them, but they go to the arcade, and sure enough, kind of what I was expecting. I mean, I didn't guess exactly what it was, but I assumed there was going to be like a public incident of some kind.
Yep.
And Marin, of course, starts thinking the video game characters are attacking him, so he smashes a screen. Jean has to deal with it. But I actually did kind of like the Ruby Marin scene. It was like, oh yeah, let the adults go away and let these two just talk to each other. There was something nice about like Marin talking to someone else that wasn't Jean or Alex for a change.
Yeah, and him just casually going, oh yeah, I was from Mars.
Yeah, and her just going, oh, was that a god on Mars you're talking about? And he's like, oh yes, well I got my son back, so he did answer some prayers. And then it was like they found each other. You could kind of see where it was going, but it was a sweet enough scene. They play some foosball, it's a thing. And we find out that she's so concerned that she's worried that the whole I might secretly be a world killer is going to pass down to her, that she might also be secretly this awful thing. I don't see why she would, but at the same time, it wouldn't have shocked me if the show did reveal that in like
I think the answer is it's genetic, right? It's like, so...
Yeah, I guess. I feel like she, like, the world killer in her was like a specific thing that was programmed in her, so it was like, this will one day be awakened. I guess I'm thinking it more of like a sleeper cell.
Right. Okay.
So that wouldn't pass down. But I mean, you may be right. I mean, the show could basically decide what they'd want to do with it. They could go either way.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't. They'll just play with it for a little bit as to, her being afraid of it.
So got her frosty tips, and furthermore, like the sooner we get her back with a minigun,
yes,
the better. Because that's peak Ruby.
Miniguns improve everyone.
Yeah. So no, I thought that was a nice little plot. Of course, there's the ending as well, is that Colville's alive somehow. We see him come back to his lair. So he's back. So I do kind of like that they brought the cult thing back. That wasn't just like a throwaway thing for those 1 or 2 episodes earlier on in the season.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Like I say, we've been speculating as to what this section of the season is going to be, given that where they were with Rain and the other world killers. So it makes sense we have to do something to kill the time. Yeah,
I think it feels a little bit better than just filler, though, which is what I like about it. I like the idea of having like a couple of things in play each season they can sort of bounce between, because...
No, I agree, because that's why I said is I thought, and I think I said on here maybe last week or the week before, that my worry was we were going to get a bit of filler.
Yeah.
And this doesn't feel like filler, even though it is kind of filling the time for the main plot. In essence, it is, but it doesn't feel like because we're returning to something that was already established. And
plus, it set up how they might be able to save Sam, so it did actually...
It did, yeah, and it's still tied to the world killers in a way that I wasn't really expecting them to do for this.
Yeah, because they're worshipping them. Yeah, so it's still the effect of the world killers. I think I like the idea. It's almost like having 2 different arcs, but instead of just having the one arc first and then the second arc second, they're sort of jumping back and forth, and I think that's okay. I think that works.
Yeah, it's a better way of handling it than say Flash did this season.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like we can complain that maybe the Lena Kara thing might get dragged out, but it's not even close to the Barry Ralph stuff.
It's not, and
not even close.
The villain plot has definitely not been dragged out in the same way.
No, it's not, because they've neatly kind of like okay, we don't have anything to do with it for a while, so we just won't bring it up for a while. Or you get the one little bit. They haven't, like... Again, it's not been the same thing. Oh, it's another bus meta this week.
Right. It's been either disconnected things or parts of the journey to get to stopping Rain. Oh, we need to get this thing. It's a fetch quest, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Rain's not been a perfect villain by any means, but I think she stands out among Supergirl's main villains just because it's a bit more personal. We have a little bit more investment because Sam's an okay character. Ruby's alright. Because kids on these shows can become pretty awful. See Arrow for William, for example. And Ruby's not the best ever, but she's had some fun moments. That episode where Alex went and threatened her bully. That was a nice.
Yeah, she's usually been like tolerable at the worst.
Yeah. So I have to give her more to do. Maybe we'll see her grow into some sort of...
Yeah. Well, once she sees Alex in action properly, she's like, and obviously this is once she's been adopted. She's like, can I get one of those fancy guns?
And she'll be like, not until you're 16.
Exactly.
And then Kara's like, Alex, 18. So, yeah, of course, 18.
No, Kara's going to be the cool aunt and go like, here you go, here's the gun.
No, Kara's like, hey, do you want to come to the fortress? I'll show you some cool alien tech. Come on.
Yeah. Find you another alien gun.
Yeah. I've got a giant alien blaster from Thanagar. Do you want that? Get your mitts around it, eh? Bigger than a minigun, promise you. So that was Supergirl. I thought it was a pretty good episode. Maybe a little clunky in some of its elements, but most of what it's building up to, and like I say, I was impressed with Mon-El.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It's not often I get to say that. But I was impressed with Mon-El this episode. He was speaking sense.
All we have to do is hope that he sticks to his word and doesn't tell Kara. Doesn't return to being a selfish prick. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. The thing is, though, because I'm expecting them to have him stick around, because he's part of the main cast and they want to have Mon-El around in his suit and whatnot, I just hope the way they do it doesn't underline or ruin, like, what they've built up with him so far, because he is getting better. He's slowly getting better. It's at the point now where I'm not groaning when he comes on the screen. And when he first came back, I felt that way.
No, me too. But slowly he's earning some trust.
Yes. All right, okay. So cool. I guess we will move on then. We will move on to The Flash, the season finale of The Flash, episode 23 of season 4. It's called We Are the Flash. So.
Right, I'm getting complaint number 1 out the way.
No one said
no. This start with the stupid, build up to the real serious complaints.
Okay.
Complaint number 1: all season, still no payoff for this house is bitching. Not really.
Depends.
No, it isn't.
We're getting to it. We're getting to it, or it was just as simple as that was a prediction of this moment at the end of the episode, and that's all it was. That's all it ever was. I mean, let's be honest. What did you really expect to explain the house is bitching?
I don't know, but I wanted them to have fun with it. Is that too much to ask for? You're going to come out these really important words. So you came out of the Speed Force, and you go, "Oh, this house is bitching," and it's just this.
I can't say I felt built up to anything more than this, so I don't really care.
Well, I'm disappointed.
This one's for you. You can have that complaint. I don't really care.
Yeah. We'll stick to the real complaints for the rest of this.
I mean, I'm not going to stick up for it and say, "Oh no, this is fine," but I just don't care.
I'm just disappointed because they kept referencing it as a joke throughout the season.
Honestly, I don't think the episode was too bad. Like I had fun with a lot of stuff. I think this one, the last one, felt like they picked the pace up quite a bit and didn't feel like they were turning their wheels again.
Yeah.
There was some nice surprises. Like I honestly didn't think we were getting Ralph back, so I actually was. I was like, "Oh yeah, Ralph's coming back. That's nice." As soon as he saw him inside DeVoe's head, I was like, "Oh, we're getting him back." There's no way we're losing him now. So I was okay. That's cool because that negates the complaints of they always have this character for a season and then get rid of him.
Yeah, no, it does.
So I'll take that one. I thought the moments with Harry were pretty good. Like see the moment where Cisco's like, "Oh hey Harry, your cap actually achieved something." He just sort of stands there smiling because he doesn't even have like speaking ability anymore. Yeah. He's just a vegetable practically. I thought that was really sad. Cisco tried to fix him with the helmet and it not working was really sad. And then when they actually do bring him back, but he's still lost all. I mean, he's lost all his PhDs, but he's at least a functional human being again. That was sad. And it does feel like we're losing him. It feels like it is the end of Wells in general.
We are. They've already said we're getting another Wells next season.
Oh, did they? All right, okay.
Yeah, we're getting a different one.
I genuinely thought, given the way the scene played, right, it really felt like the reason why they said it's the end of an era is because, we're actually losing a Wells in general. But if we're getting another one, we're getting another one.
No, we're getting another one.
Because it would have been a nice fitting end for him, I think. To like, you know what, I'm going to go back with my daughter and.
No, I agree.
Had a big hug. But
I mean, the beauty of it is that still holds. We just get a different Wells.
Oh,
that character still had its whole arc.
I think this one is the one we've attached to the most, though, because we had this one because we had them all season 2 and 4, and he still popped in here or there in season 3, even though HR was the one we had for the season. So he's the one we've connected to the most by far.
Definitely.
So I just hope, because at least when we got HR, we'd only had this one for one season, so it was kind of like, okay, it was even at the time. Whereas now, anyone who comes in, it's like, well, no, we had this one for like 2 and a bit seasons.
Yeah.
So, you've got something to live up to now. So we'll see what they do with that. So what would you like to complain about?
I mean, I just, where do I start? The kind of, at the moment, cheap feeling time travel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if even know if it is time travel. Like, I was wondering if it was like.
I was really confused in the moment. I was like, what's going on here?
I was wondering if it was similar to something we saw in Legion this past week, where it wasn't actually time travel. It was just rewinding to show us that someone else was there. Because obviously, what happens is after they actually have Dibney take over DeVoe's body, we get Ralph back. And they actually defeat the. I thought it was kind of pointless having the hologram DeVoe shot for one scene just to like be defeated.
I didn't get the point of that. Like, it's like, he's back. I made a technological copy.
And literally all that happens is Marlize goes up and pulls out some cables, and that's it.
He's like, I've thought of everything. I even thought of this moment. This is good. I knew we would be here. Unplug. Is that it? Like, it even did the shot, where it lingered on the back of the chair, where it's like, something's still in there before this reveal, and then what was the point?
Yeah, that felt weird to me that it just did that. But after all that happens, one of the satellites is falling down on Central City, and the parts about this I liked was I liked like Ralph and Cisco being full hero mode and like saving people out in the streets. I liked the sort of heroic kind of feeling to that. That was kind of
nice. I will question Iris's strategy. She shouts out the orders, and the first thing she says was, I'll spread the word so people can evacuate. I'm like, 1, there's 3 minutes. You already established that. No one's getting that far. 2, no one's checking your blog at a moment like this.
That's fair. I think the rest of the orders were solid, but that's fair.
They were. The rest of them, hey, you two go and clear.
But I guess it's just this futile attempt. It's like, I'll do it just in case anyone actually gets warned by this.
Frankly, it feels like a waste of time. You could be doing something else.
I mean, that never stuck out to me as a big complaint. I'm waiting for the. I mean, the DeVoe ones so far have been very valid, and I agree with them. I don't know about this one. This one's like, whatever.
No, that was bullshit. Like, why would you do that? That is not an appropriate action in this time.
So Barry runs away to run back so he can do a sonic punch. I kind of I liked Marlize being around for that, and she was like, "Hey, what's he doing?"
Yeah.
Like Iris explains it. I was like, it'd be kind of nice to have like a fresh set of eyes and ears kind of in the room.
Yeah, we get that every season.
Yeah, but this was kind of different because this was like someone who is already really smart and like knows a lot about this stuff, but just maybe that hasn't actually worked with the Flash, and I kind of like that in essence. But Barry, he super speeds up the building, he goes to punch the satellite to destroy it, and then it freezes and it rewinds, so he's back to the start, and then he starts to run again. But this time we see like glimpses of the purple lightning, like behind him and beside him, and we see the fist going in, and then we see the other fist going in. We can tell it's the jacket, we can tell it's Iris's colours, her black and white jacket. So yeah, I don't know, beyond just having the cool spectacle moment of, hey, someone's here to help.
Yeah, see, no, this is why I think it has to be a time travel thing, because, obviously we'll get to it all, but when she comes, she mentions that she's changed time, right? She's changed the history.
Yes.
I think originally Barry died trying to stop that.
That's fair. That's a fair guess.
And so she's jumped in to save him, and
Which would mean Iris is already pregnant.
Which would mean that.
Which
makes Barry's reaction funnier.
It does, no, because that's the thing. That's why you have that scene where Iris says, "Oh, we're next," and he's like, "What? What?" Yeah. It's like, someday, Barry, calm down. And I'm like, okay. It felt like even before, daughter Nora shows up. That's her name. Sorry. Yes. But when she shows up, even before that was just like, okay, this is foreshadowing. Like, she's so pregnant next year.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine.
Which is fine. And obviously she shows up, and everyone kind of recognizes her. I did chuckle at the house's bitching thing. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't bother me. But she's like, "Yeah, I'm your daughter from the future. I am Nora," and I'm like, "Okay, after his mum, that's fine." What struck me as weird is Iris being all, "That jacket's one of a kind. Where did you get it?" Because I felt like the implication of that scene was Cisco made that for me for the speeding around, but she was wearing that jacket before she got her speed powers. Like, that was just her jacket.
Yeah.
Because I remember her wearing it, like, just walking around casually with it, and then she closed it up when she got the powers. So that felt. I mean, maybe that's a minor complaint, but it felt weird to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, but I wasn't sure if it was just my memory playing tricks on me, or if she never did wear it before that.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure this was just a jacket she owned.
I thought that too, and the CW will absolutely reuse assets like that.
No, but it was like the same episode. That's why I remember it.
No, fair enough. Like I said, I'm not entirely certain, but
hey, if she just wore that jacket like 4 episodes before that one, I would never remember this.
Yeah, no.
I'm not in the habit of remembering. If anything, my complaint with TV shows is that most characters seem to never wear the same clothes. You either get a character who always wears the exact same thing, like Harry, it's always the black shirt, or you'll get Cisco, who has an infinite amount of t-shirts and never reuses the same one.
No, it's true.
Or in Iris's case, she'll have an infinite number of blouses and shirts and whatever, and she'll never wear the same one twice.
But you notice it more on Cisco's because they're usually referencing something.
Yeah. My favourite being the TGIF one with the Jason Voorhees mask, this hockey mask. That one cracked me up.
Pretty good one. Yeah.
But they're usually nerdy, yeah. So I usually notice those ones. But hey, so I mean, I'm cool with the. Obviously, we guessed it was the daughter. I'm cool with that as the setup for next season. You might debate that they were spreading that out too much over the season just for it to be here's the setup for next year. But I mean,
I think a little bit because I don't think it really justified this ending moment for me.
It never bugged me. And it was kind of clear as we were getting through the episode that it was just going to be the tag at the end. It was not going to be like the big focus of the episode was going to be who this girl is. And having like descendants from the future come back is such a Flash thing that I'm happy they're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a big part of the Flash comic, so I'm happy they're doing it, and we'll see what they do with it. But
this means it's only a matter of time until we get Bart, right?
Yeah, I mean, although that said, I wonder if they've got this new version, this Nora, instead of using a Bart.
But here's the thing: we've had Jay, we've got a Wally, we've got Barry, we've got to have a Bart.
These are true statements. I'm just saying, I wonder if instead of having another guy, they wanted to have a female speedster. I know they've got Jessie, but Jessie's not really been around, and she's kind of off in her own earth.
I get that.
I wonder if that was a conscious choice. It's just like, no, we'll do basically the Bart story, but
I get that, but it stings a little, right, to lose Bart.
Yeah. That said, though, would this mean Bart's her son? Because Bart's the grandson.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking. I mean, I would assume so. Like, unless they had other kids. But if Barry was supposed to die here, then probably not.
Probably not. I don't know if I'd go as far to say he was meant to die. I think I would just go as far to say Central City was going to be hit with a satellite, and it was going to like cause devastating. The city was going to be destroyed.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, you may be right. Maybe Barry was going to die, but my mind just went to, no, it was this big catastrophe. Maybe other people related that were.
Maybe. I think I'm just assuming this because it's a bit more personal. It's the same reason Barry went back for his mom, so it's the same cycle, which is why I like it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. We can't have her reverse it and have it happen the way it was going to because he's our main character.
Right.
So either they have to somehow justify not doing that, which would be really difficult given how Flashpoint had to play out, or he wasn't going to die, but just things were really bad anyway, just in other ways.
But either way, that's still kind of a Flashpoint effect, right? But Barry's rule at the minute is just don't change the past.
Yes.
And so even if it's not Barry died, it's okay. A bunch of people in the city did. It's still a big effect to change.
Oh no, I know, but what I'm saying is that we can't have the same lesson be learned.
No, we can't. No, I agree.
We can't reverse it. So that's why I think it's easier to deal with. Oh, she changed a big catastrophe. Because I think if it's just Barry, then Barry, quite frankly, should honorably stand up and say, "Hey, you have to change it back. It doesn't matter what happens to me. You have to be a hero and sacrifice yourself." But if it's the entire city was going to die, it's like, can he really stand up and say, "No, we should let the entire city die"? That's a much harder thing to say, right?
It is. It is. I hope they get from the perspective of, yeah, well, to us, your future hasn't happened anyway. So...
Oh no, I hate that argument. I hate that so much. It's so much bullshit. I hate it.
It is.
Because it's like, well, yeah, like, why is your present any more, like, the right present than our present?
Yeah, no, I know.
I hate that. It's such a wormhole to go in, and there's no answer to it. There's no right answer.
There's not, but maybe one of them suggests it, and then, Cisco, for example, just shuts it down.
And quite frankly, the idea of the writers of this show trying to play with that makes me terrified, because they do not do very well with time travel rules.
No, they really don't.
So I am not fond of that idea.
No, that's fair.
So I'm glad we got Ralph back, though. I'm cool with
definitely. He was really strong in the first half of the season.
Yeah, and the only reason why he went downhill is because of the plot they kept reusing with him and Barry. That wasn't really the character's. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying the character's fault, but it wasn't like. There's nothing wrong with the character himself. It's just. Yeah,
it wasn't a fault of the character at core. It was a fault of the journey they were insistent on doing and just redoing every week.
Yeah. So, and from what the little we've seen of Nora, the daughter, she seems fine. She seems,
It's hard to have an opinion, right? There's not really much to go on.
I guess the point I'm making is that the small scenes we've had with her and this final scene is she seems to have a bit of charisma. She's not like, I'm not immediately going, oh, this is awkward, the way she's,
No, definitely not.
So, I'm hopeful. We have to talk about the weird moment with Caitlin now, when Cecile she's sort of takes over the people's personalities, but she takes over Killer Frost, and she says, is it Johnny? She's like, oh, I found Johnny, and he's always been like this, or something like that, she says to Caitlin.
Yeah.
It's like a really weird moment, and I'm like...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm racking my brain, but nothing's coming to mind.
Is it? I mean, given that we know she has repressed memories, and I like that we're saving this for next season as well, it's another nice little thing to look forward to, the whole, Caitlin was Killer Frost long before the part of her cellar there.
Because it felt quite late to introduce that, right?
I'm assuming this is someone she knew as a kid, that she's also forgotten from before that time.
Probably.
That'd be my guess right now.
Yeah, it sounds plausible.
I don't know. Also Wally showed up for like the baby party.
Yeah, he showed up for a whole 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah. And it's funny because the speech he gives to his dad made me really think, he's going back to Legends for next year, but he's not in the posters for it, so now I'm worried what they're doing with him.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, this show clearly doesn't know what to do with multiple speedsters. That's been established.
Yes. With the exception of maybe like Flash Time is the episode, but keeping them around long term, they have no idea.
Yeah. They can do specific things, but they can't do, week to week the whole season, because, they end up feeling like they have to neuter one of them.
Yes.
Or just write a reason why they're not there, because they can't just have, it's too easy to have the solution with two speedsters for every problem.
Yep.
So he can't be coming just back to here. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope he goes back to Legends. I hope the poster was just wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's the ideal
this
thing.
Really felt like he was he talks about I was at home on Legend with the Legends.
Yeah, he says I found myself, I found purpose. It was like, yeah, so you should go back to Legends. Why are you not on Legends next season?
Yeah,
this is weird.
Yeah,
maybe that mock-up poster they put out was just a quick thing they did, and they didn't. The marketing guy didn't know. And he just put in Constantine. He's the new guy. Because not like Ava or Gary were on the poster either, and I'm fully expecting them next season.
Oh, absolutely.
I felt Ava was officially upgraded to season regular, so she's definitely going to be there.
It's just weird because he's part of the crew, right?
No, it is. It absolutely is. But hopefully he's back on Legends. He fit well there. Marlize is off to go back to developing tech to help the planet. The actual stuff in DeVoe's head, I mean, I don't know why it was just like the world and Flash still had his super speed in there. That was kind of weird.
And it was just like really muted colors.
Yeah.
I will say I laughed at the point where there was Ralph made an Attack of the Clones joke, and I'm like, come on, Ray already did that on Legends.
Yeah.
But then, more importantly, given the way it looked, the way they were walking towards him, like, why aren't you making a Matrix joke?
No, I got Matrix
Especially
vibes.
when he did, the swinging around. It was like, this is straight up Matrix.
I did like when Flash was running with Ralph on his back, and Ralph essentially made himself into a cape.
Yeah.
That was kind of amusing.
That was amusing.
Yeah, because the whole idea, of course, was that we were trying to find good in DeVoe. Oh, he's dead in here. Like the good part of him's dead. But Ralph, this is your body. So if you go through the mind vortex thing, plot MacGuffin thing.
I'll be honest. I thought this whole idea with I know we've been I've been saying, okay, there's got to be a reason for it's just reading the thoughts. It's got to pay off somewhere.
Yeah, she's the beacon to get Barry into his head.
But I thought all of this was a bit convoluted compared to what we could have done with her having this power.
It was very convoluted. I feel like I'm not surprised. I don't think this is that weird given what Flash has done in the past with certain things and how it solves problems. There was some fun stuff to be had inside it, but like I say, the idea that he still had his super speed in this like fake world that's inside DeVoe's head was really boggling my mind. Like I didn't understand how it worked or why.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole most of that section of the episode just didn't really work for me. It just felt like,
and I can't even say Speed Force, bro, because it's not Speed Force. It's DeVoe's head.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff, when I actually met Ralph, I was like, oh, this is kind of sweet, I'm glad to see Ralph again. So once Ralph was there, it was kind of like, okay, I'm just kind of having fun with what they're doing now, but the actual entire conceit of, like, this is the plan, we're going to go inside to DeVoe's head, like see when she said that, oh, if we go into DeVoe's head and find the good in him, and when she said that, or when they first started talking about it, I'm like, okay, they're going to speak to him, Supergirl style, like, talk him down. No, next scene, Cisco's like, oh, I like Inception as much as the next guy, but wait, Inception? Wait, we're doing what?
Yeah, I don't know. It was such a out of nowhere idea to introduce in the last episode that I was kind of just not onto it at all. Yeah,
we've not built up to it at all. So I admit it was kind of weird and out of left field. Like I don't know why this was suddenly what the plan was at the end. I did both like and dislike the we should call in the backup. Let's call Kara and Oliver and everyone we know, and basically Marley's like, no, all of the metas that he's got, they're all designed so that any allies you could call upon would be useless because he's got all the different powers. And I'm like, okay, I kind of buy that logic, but at the same time, it's annoying because it feels like, oh yeah, this is just the quick explanation as to why he's not calling in all the big guns.
I'd almost prefer them not to reference it, because telling me that, what they're basically saying is DeVoe is more of a threat to everyone they know than the entire Earth X crossover.
That's what they're saying, yes. It's like, I like it because I like their acknowledging it. I like that he actually, because no one in this show has ever said we should just call Kara because she can solve this problem for us, right? Because there's so many times they should have done. Remember last season when
Forget last season. Talking like last week. Kara, could you come and knock out the satellite for us?
Okay, that I was thinking of I'm forgetting her name.
I'm sorry, you gotta give me something to go on.
Oh god, she was in the Flash annual recently. In the comics.
Yeah, that was like
villain turned hero, female. Magenta.
Magenta, yeah.
Magenta, yes, that was it. Her episode, which had the ship, and Barry and I think the other speedster, I think it was Jesse, they were like, oh hey, how do we stop the ship from landing on the building? It's like, oh, run around really fast and create like a vortex. I'm like, call Kara, have her pick up the ship.
Yeah.
You have a super girlfriend. That came out weird. You know what I mean? You have a friend who's super. You have a Kryptonian friend.
Yes.
There's so many times, and I get why they don't. I get why they can't just do it every episode. But I'm saying that I like that they address it and that he actually has a suggestion because it feels like they should always have that thought. But at the same time, it feels like this really quick thing. Oh, this is why we're not doing that.
I think it's funny because Arrow, if I recall, did the same thing last week. It's like, oh, we can't, we can't use all these people because of X reason, right?
Yeah.
So Does Supergirl do the same thing? He's like, well, we could do it Barry. Well, actually, no, we're good. We're sorted.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense from Supergirl's perspective, though, because with the exception of the speedsters, they're kind of more powerful than all the other characters anyway. So, her and
Yeah.
Monel, John, together, like...
Right,
Yeah,
they don't need help that
they don't
much.
need it, yeah. I mean, Jean's telepathic and top everything else and whatever, so, it's a thing.
Yeah, and he can phase, so the speedsters are no good for that.
So, I mean, in terms of, like, looking at the finale as a whole, like... Because one of our viewers said that they thought this was the weakest finale of the show, and I was thinking about it, and I don't know if I agree with that, because I feel like the show in general doesn't have great finales when I really think about them. They're always kind of convoluted. I actually think I respect this one the most in terms of the cliffhanger, because it felt like they still finished the story, and then it was like a nice little cliffhanger that wasn't like. Whereas season 2 ending with he's going to do Flashpoint, or season 1 ending with he goes into the Speed Force. In fact, season 3 ended with him going into the Speed Force.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think season 1 might be the strongest.
That's fair. But even that ended with the whole vortex in the sky. He's going to have to run around it and like.
It did. I do really appreciate that this didn't end with a vortex in the sky or a speed force or a something.
Yeah, because Barry going away and then only to come back one episode in has happened a couple of times now, and I was going to be really pissed off if they did that again. So I'm glad they avoided that. It's kind of the same with how Green Arrow, Arrow's 6th season. As much as I didn't like how it got there, I do like that the cliffhanger of the season was what it was. Like, that was, okay, that's a good status quo shift for next year, if you want to tease that.
Yeah, I think this has the best last 5 minutes of any of the finales.
That's fair, yeah.
I think the other 35 or so, it's probably the weakest.
I mean, I don't know, because on the one hand, like, I think I like a lot, like, some of the characters I like a lot more now than I used to. But at the same time, the plot is probably weaker than most of the other finales.
Like I said, I don't think there's been any other finale where there's been an entire section, this in DeVoe's head for, 10 minutes, where I was just completely checked out, going, why are we doing this?
That's fair. I think that's fair. I think, honestly, though, like, some of the emotion hit for me enough that I was just kind of relieved it was as good as it was. Because I think a lot of this back half of the season has been just downright mediocre.
So I'll tell you what I was relieved about. That we did deal with the Thinker.
Oh, yeah.
No pulling some Arrow shite on us.
He's not coming back next year, because Arrow really screwed us over with that. The worst villain Arrow's ever had, and he's coming back next season. God damn it.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good point. Yeah. I can't praise it much, but at the same time, like, I like some of the emotional beats. I liked Harry.
Yeah.
I like bits of the action here or there. I liked having Ralph back. So
I think a lot of the problems is that all the stuff that I'm praising are stuff that it's not necessarily this season that set up being good. It's stuff that I have a connection to from before that.
With the exception of Ralph, I suppose.
What's that?
With the exception of Ralph.
Yeah, with the exception of Ralph. He's the one exception, obviously, because he's only in this season. But all the stuff with Harry, most of that has come from his journey from season 2 and 3. And sure, there's been bits in this season, but overall, his journey was already taking place there, and I already cared about him before that.
Yeah, Harry's story was good in places, but even that hit the speed bump of the couple episodes with the addiction part of it, where we weren't really feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a really funky season, because, like, I like a lot of the first chunk of it, and I love Flash Time. Enter Flash Time is a fantastic episode.
Do you know what I think? Because we loved the first 7, and then you had Earth X is 8,
which obviously was great, but that was part of the...
Yeah, but that's different. But then 9 was the last one before Christmas. I think we like that too. I think
the cliffhanger was weird on it, because that was what ended with you murdered the
body
Vo.
switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was weird. I feel like it only needed like another 4 or 5 episodes from that point, though.
No, that's fair.
And then that's all it needed, and instead we got more than what we'd already had.
Yeah. Hopefully they can do something, because I think the reason why we liked the first chunk so much is because they were doing some great stuff with the characters. Iris is better than she's ever been. Ralph was a great addition to the cast. The Killer Frost kind of buddy thing with Caitlin is actually kind of fun when they play with it properly.
And I think that this is the thing, that the back half of the season, a lot of that stuff went away.
It did.
We got less and less Killer Frost. Iris started to be a little bit repetitive at points.
Yeah, for a couple episodes just towards the end she did. And then, of course, Ralph was gone for
a while.
Well,
even before he was gone, we were sick of it.
His plot was terrible for a few episodes, and then he was gone until he came back. And he was great in this episode. I thought everything he did in this episode was pretty fun. But so yeah, kind of a weird mishmash of a season, and it's kind of funny because I think I was sure in the first 7-8 episodes that I was going to rate this season higher than at least 3. Right,
yeah, and then 3 was not great, was it?
Right. But 3 was oddly more consistent. I feel like, honestly, against each other, probably pretty equal, but 4 had all of its good parts all concentrated, so that it felt like you had these really good parts and then a lot of downtime. Whereas 3, I felt like it was just a constant, so let's say the good parts of this season are 8s and 9s out of 10s, right? And then you've got this sort of rougher 5 and 6 section, right? And then it balances out to the same as 3, but season 3 instead was just lots of 7 throughout, or maybe even that's a bit generous. 6.5
sixes,
yeah, but I feel like that'd be the way I'd compare it.
But you know what my problem is now going into next season? I'm I'm cautious. I'm on guard now.
Because
even if I like the start of it, it's going to be in my mind, is this going to go off a cliff?
I take it back. 3 also had some spikes because the Gorilla City 2-parter and stuff like that were good fun.
They were good. Yeah,
they were good fun, different things to do.
Yeah. Do you know? I do wonder how much losing Kreisberg affected this show this season, because all the stuff that we liked would have been when he was still around. When it was heavily plotted. Yeah,
it's funny actually because Supergirl got delayed and therefore might have, I think, is maybe bounced back from that exit better than Flash has.
Yeah, even that had a bit of a rough period, right? Though after Christmas. Not this level of rough, but a little bit of a weaker period.
No, immediately, because that first one, Fort Roswell Bon Jovi stuff, was great. That was a fantastic episode.
That one was pretty good, yeah.
There was a couple of great episodes. It was only a couple of weaker ones. Maybe out of that 4, the last couple were a bit weaker.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then, and it's been kind of building back up, and it's been pretty
consistent,
solid. Yeah. Flash, on the other hand, it feels like there's been this big drop.
It really feels like they lost direction. They were like, "Oh shit, we don't know what we're doing with this plot. We don't actually know where we're going with it."
Yeah. So hey ho.
I do wonder if in terms of losing Kreisberg, there, they knew the outline for the plot. They knew the end point, but they didn't actually know the middle. And he hadn't decided what that was going to be yet.
And what's funny about that is that you almost think you're a network TV show. Do some standalone episodes. Just do some standalone fun stuff.
Yeah,
in between.
No, exactly.
You can do that. It's weird. But hey, that's The Flash. That is the Flash season finale, which does take us on to Krypton season 1, episode 10. It is the season finale as well. It is the Phantom Zone is the name of this one, which is an exciting name in and of itself because you're like, what are they going to do with this? I'm going to give them credit. They did not end this season remotely how I thought they were going to end this season.
This is a ballsy ending.
It is because, well, first of all, we were expecting more Adam Strange because we thought, we'll have to answer this. And I mean, they do answer where he is and what's going on, but they don't conclude any of it.
They just said it. That scene that we got of him last episode, or was it even I think it was the one before, wasn't it? Back in the city and everyone frozen. That's it. That's just the tease.
Yeah, they explain what that is. You see a little bit more of him walking around the frozen people, but that's it. There's no finishing to it. And of course you have Brainiac in all of his glory. Those beautiful shots of the Brainiac ship coming down around the city.
God, the budget for that.
It's good, and you can tell they saved a lot of their money for the premiere and the finale to give it the bookend big moments. But
yeah, notably the only ones where you get the classic Superman theme as well.
I don't know if it's a budget reason though. I think
no. I just notably for the start and end.
Sure, but Warner Bros. Do make it. I'm pretty sure they can.
Oh, they can do that as much as they want.
Do that as much as they want. And it was a nice moment though because it's when they get Val back out of the Phantom Zone. That's where he's been. And time doesn't work the same way in the Phantom Zone, so he's just kind of, he's been there.
I like that as an idea. Because we it's always an idea that time's a bit funny in there, but this
Yeah.
here that it can cross paths between future and past.
Yeah, the Val's even seen some futures, and I actually thought at one point he was going to say he'd seen Superman. Like, he'd actually seen that path and seen where it
I
leads.
thought it wasn't, and he was like, "No, we've got to let Brainiac win because that
Yeah.
should happen."
Yeah. I did not expect them to stop Brainiac, but they actually do. They put him into the Phantom Zone. There's a point where Zod wants to trade Val for him. He's like, "Hey, Val's seen the future, Brainiac. Do you want to take him?" And Seg argues against him, and you think that like Zod's just going against his back, behind his back, but then it all turns out to be a plan to trap him on the Phantom Zone beam, and he gets
Which
taken.
I think is a little concerning in the sense that, well, Brainiac's in the Phantom Zone now. Surely he can see these futures.
It is a bit concerning, and of course the big thing here is that Brainiac, look, he's wires and stuff, his cables, grab Seg and pull him out of the Phantom Zone. Seg goes into the Phantom Zone, and I'm like, shit, we're actually going to be in the Phantom Zone next season with Seg. He's going to be separated from everyone else.
Yeah.
And as this is happening, as Brainiac is getting into the Phantom Zone, Seg has been pulled in. You see Superman's cape reform. It's like growing back, and it's becoming the Superman cape. And that was interesting because like they just stopped Brainiac. The ship's coming down.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, okay, so he's supposed to win, but he's not, and yet Superman's cape still exists. And that was like, okay, what sort of weird circumstances is that?
And then it starts shifting.
And then it starts shifting into a Zod cape. And then we end the season with Zod in power on Krypton.
He's gone full Zod.
He's got all the leaders of all the other cities there, and he's like, everyone would kneel before. They saved that for the season finale. They saved kneel before Zod for the season finale. I love that.
Yeah.
That points for that.
Is it the last line?
I think it is actually. Yeah,
I think it is,
it's
yeah.
the last line. And then of course we cut back to Adam Strange, and we see that in Earth in the future, instead of the Superman statue, there's a Zod statue. Although I think he's in his own city, Detroit. So I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it just means there's a Zod statue in Detroit. Rather, because I said they replaced the Superman statue, but the Superman statue's in Metropolis, so ignore that part.
Well, maybe they had one too.
Yeah, maybe it did. But I'm just thinking of classic comic book continuities.
I love this.
Oh, it's great. This is so because I was all prepared for, okay, they let Brainiac do the thing, but they all sort of, and I thought we'd set up with a completely different thing for season 2, because we've been questioning all season, what is season 2 of this show? And I did not expect Zod in power going full Zod Hitler, and Seg's in the Phantom Zone, and then Val's reunited with Jack Sewer. She finds the fortress at the end, and he's happy to see her. She's going to help him. Like all this stuff, and I mean,
yeah, Nissa's got their child.
Nissa's got their child, who I'm still convinced the name will change to Jor-El at some point.
Oh, I'm certain. Yeah.
So that's the thing. And then you had her have a showdown with Jack Sewer. You had all the ships, like Light is like, no, we have to defend Kandor, and she sends out all the Sagittarii and the ships, and they all immediately just get blown up. Brainiac just goes. Pfft.
Yeah. Do you know what I think would be such a ballsy move for the show? Mm-hmm. Is to not have okay. This thing we say about the Flash every season is don't bring Barry back straight away, right? Because they always do this. Like just go without Barry for a bit.
This is different though. And
No, I know, but I'm thinking they could go without Seg. They could. He's been the blandest for a while. We can get him back at some point, but we don't see anything of him in the Phantom Zone. We stay with just our characters on the outside. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh no! The reason why he goes into the Phantom Zone is because we're going to go follow him in there. We're going to see inside the Phantom Zone.
I see. I think I can see this possibility, but I kind of want to go just on the outside. Just don't take away the mystique. Don't show me it. Leave it as this ethereal place.
Oh no, you're going to see it. This is totally the selling point of season 2. Is we're going to get inside the Phantom Zone as part of it.
Quite possibly, but I can just see because there was that thing where the thing that we know about him, because Zod says to Leiter that his father was lost during the bottling, and obviously things have changed because the bottling never finished, but that could still play. He was lost during the attempted bottling.
He's not gone for good though.
No, I know, but
and there's no way we're not following him. At most, we won't see him until the very end of the first episode, and that'll be the first glimpse of the Phantom Zone. And then episode 2, I can see episode 2 being entirely in the Phantom Zone. That'll
I
be
can
episode
see
2.
it. Yeah.
Uh, I don't need to lose Seg. It's not like with Barry where I'm like I want to see Wally take the reins and have Barry be like, because they always tease Barry's gone and it's like the consequences. Here I'm excited to follow Seg because it'll be separate. It's not like they're going to feel cheap because Seg will still be on his own. Like the rest, everyone, all the other characters will have to deal with Kandor on their own with Zod and everything else. But Seg, he's our portal into seeing the Phantom Zone for the first time.
No, I get that, but part of me is like, we don't need Seg on the show. Like, we don't need to have Seg to be interesting. We can just have him. We can have our characters try and want to rescue him from the outside and dealing with Zod, but just him being there, trapped, and maybe when we get him out, he has been there for a lot longer than we think, and just not knowing what he went through exactly, and just getting it from that perspective is far more interesting to me than actually just seeing inside it.
I think it is extremely unlikely.
I know.
Extremely unlikely. And honestly, I kind of want to see inside the Phantom Zone, so I'm good. I don't need the Phantom Zone to be mysterious.
I think I like this version of it, the way they're setting it up. I don't know if I want to go in there and see futures.
Oh no, because they could do like a whole David Lynch thing where it'll be really like hard to follow. Like it'll be like
They won't.
It'll be like going through various like things, and you'll see glimpses of things. Oh, you'll see a glimpse of Superman or something. You'll see like
Right, but this is the thing. I don't think it'll be as as good as that on the show. As much as I like the show, I don't think it can do that.
Well, that's fair, but I think you're completely crazy to even expect I'm not going to go into the Phantom Zone.
I'm not expecting them not to. It's just that's what I want.
Yeah, but you said you're going to be disappointed when they don't, and I feel like that's
I'm
just
not
weird.
Disappointed. Just
I'm looking forward to seeing the Phantom Zone. I'm looking forward to Zod being in power, and later maybe realizing, oh shit. And speaking of things like they've just left dangling, is that Jaina, like who we assume is her brother, found her last episode. Yeah. We don't see any of Jaina this episode. We don't know where she is. Don't know what's going on with her. And of course, at the very end, because last episode we were told, oh yeah, Doomsday's containment chamber is going to malfunction. It's on a timer. It's going to get out, and everyone was in this episode. At one point, I think Seg even says, "Oh no, we'll have to evacuate the city because they'll be stuck in the bottled city with Doomsday." So then they save Kandor. Zod's giving his speech. Final scene of the episode is Doomsday breaking out. He's waking up, and I love that they actually mirror the original awakening of Doomsday. I don't know if you remember from Death of Superman.
Yeah.
The shot of the fist coming out.
Yeah, it's nice.
That was the exact shot. And he looks pretty good so far. We'll see.
I mean, maybe things will not look quite as good, but we see more. But right now, compared to the other versions that we've had live action, we've had the Smallville shite. We had the BVS utter shite, that was somehow worse than the Smallville one, frankly.
This is easily the best so far.
This is pretty damn good.
And what I would say right now, my expectation for season 2 is Zod. It'll be like an uneasy thing for everyone else, but ultimately it'll be Zod and co trying to fight off Doomsday because oh shit, Doomsday's out. And then in Phantom Zone we'll be dealing with Seg trying to make sense of what's going on and survive.
And at what point do we have Adam come back and be like, oh, this is wrong. We need Superman back, not a Zod. Yeah. We've got to overthrow him and get this back on track. And
here's why I'm so excited about the Phantom Zone though, is if he's seeing glimpses of future timelines, who else does he see? What does he witness? Is this what finally convinces him that he needs to ensure that Superman exists in some way? There's all these possibilities. Like, does he see? I don't think we're going to actually see Superman himself, but does he see the effect of Superman? Does he see who's a side character we could witness? Like,
this is the thing. All of this to me is better unseen from my part. Have him experience it, and we don't know exactly what he saw.
Oh God, no! I thoroughly disagree with that. Like completely. We need to witness Seg go through this journey. We need to see him make those decisions. That will feel so cheap to me if he just comes out and goes, "Oh, I've seen the future," and me.
Well, no, but not just like that. But I think him coming out and being a completely changed man, being entirely different from the person who went in, and learning over the course of the season what happened, why is he like this now? What's he seen?
No, that's less impressive than seeing the journey. No, I flat out disagree with that. That is Mon-El disappearing and coming back and just being better, and that was hard to take. It's the exact same thing. We're only just starting to not hate Mon-El because it's taken this long to accept it.
But the difference is Mon-El left. He was gone. And then, oh, okay, here we go. He's back again. Whereas this is established. This is setting up a return, right? Whereas Mon-El wasn't setting up a return. It was just, oh, I suppose we'll bring him back.
That doesn't really change what the point I'm making, though.
Oh, it does. It
no,
does.
it doesn't.
And I have had no problems with him this season in that sense. My problem has not been not seeing his journey. I'm frankly fine not seeing his journey because he's better now.
That's because you don't like Mon-El, though. The point I'm making, though, is that it'll be nowhere near as satisfying for him to just to come out and already be changed. The journey is the part that would make it interesting. Like, a big part of this show has to be him realising how important all this stuff is. And to have that all happen off camera would feel weird.
No, I just disagree with this, sorry.
I think you're a crazy man with these requests.
I want, ideally for me, is... you don't have Seg at all until like episode 5, where they get him out, and they get him out. And,
that never happened.
They think it's been whatever 6 months, a year, however long, whatever. If we do a bit of a time jump, whatever. But for him, it's been however long he's experienced time in there, whatever he's seen, and then just the dichotomy of who he is now versus who he was, and how he meshes with all these people now. And the mystery of that, because we're with the people on Krypton, we're with them. To me, that's just much better.
Well, it's not happening, so get over it.
Well, we will see in a year.
No, it's not happening. I'll bet you whatever you want. This is not happening.
I'm just saying, it's possible.
The only way this happens is if he pops back out in the first episode.
I don't know.
That's the only way that happens. There is no way we lose him for 5 episodes and then he just pops out. I think a big part of the story potential for next season is the journey he goes through inside the Phantom Zone and the struggles that entails in discovering that. Like, there's so much potential to do in there. Like, I feel like to write it all off and just want it to be mystery feels really weird to me. But more than that, like, I'll buy that there's more time than we see. But, maybe like, oh yeah, he's been in there for years as opposed to like whatever the real time's been. I think that's fine as long as we see the key moments that really change him. Like, really, like, enough to buy that, okay, this is really affecting him, seeing something, like, seeing this young girl who's been saved by Superman or something, and, like, the effect of it, or whatever. Or who else does he run into in there? Like, who else has been into the Phantom Zone? Because we know that they encounter each other in the Phantom Zone, regardless of what part of, what part of the time period they've been in. So, like, who else has been in there, like, in the future, that you could run into? Anyway, what else did the finale talk about?
I'm not sure. What did we do? We covered. Nyssa.
I was going to jump somewhere else, but yeah, Nyssa. Start with Nyssa.
Yeah. So she's a clone.
She's a Wait, are we still watching Westworld? Yeah, she's a clone. She actually, when her mother, I actually thought they were going to reveal that Jack Stewart was her mother at one point, because she was they were talking here. I was like, their hair is really similar now that I'm paying attention to it. But she's like, no, your mother did die, and then you basically died in the same crash. I was going to say car crash, skiff crash. And your back was broken, but luckily your brain was still there. Like, we could still, was it neural fusion, she called it.
And we'd established that these clones are there for the elite. They'd already established that. I don't know if that was last episode or the one before. Yeah,
so sure enough, she's learned that she is now the second version of herself.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to debate whether or not that even... Does that change anything?
No, I think that might be part of her journey next season, is realizing that she's still the same person that she's always been, as far as she knows. Nothing has actually changed except the knowledge.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because I think actually one of the things that I really liked about when Seg was getting pulled into the Phantom Zone, and he's like, because he realizes that his grandfather's a little bit more cynical. Like, he comes out not really believing in the idea of hope anymore, and like the idea that tomorrow can be better. And he's like, no, believe in better tomorrows, no matter what, just do it. Like, this idea of like them trying to inspire hope in each other, I like that, because Superman's whole thing's about hope, and because there was a point when I really thought that like Seg realizing this is all like for nothing, like there's no way they can stop Brainiac. Like, I really thought, okay, because they're having that debate where Zod's like, no, what? So we just saved the people in the city, even though that'll doom the planet in 200 years, and we're all going to die anyway. And I really thought Seg was, well, it's better than nothing. It's better than just letting them go. Like, this is the more humane choice. This is the better choice for, because it became this thing where Zod was basically saying, "Oh, I'll give Brainiac the intel to doom the rest of the universe. He can go around and destroy every other city and every other planet if he wants to. Like, that's a possibility." And it became this point where I think, and they never quite got to the point where Seg had to make that choice in like a moment, but the idea was kind of there, and I was really thinking about it, was Seg making the choice that, no, we can't be selfish. Saving our one city is not worth dooming cities in every other single planet and every other civilized world. And it's that idea of selflessness of Superman, right? It's the idea of like, no, it's not just about the one thing that matters to me. It's about saving it. Because at one point, Zod's even called selfish. And it makes sense. Like, screw the rest of the planet as long as Krypton survives. It's like, no, but that's the whole point of Superman, is that it's not about him and who he cares about. Everyone's important.
Yeah, of course.
So, no, I really like that thematic stuff in there. That really did a lot for me. Then, of course, you had all the big budget stuff. Dev has a Winter Soldier arm.
Yep.
It's actually more high tech looking, which I think they're getting away with because they're going to hide it most of the time. But when they do show it, they've got this CG of the sort of the circuitry like flowing.
Yeah. Most of the time it'll just be under a sleeve.
Yeah.
He'll probably just stick a glove on as well, I'm sure.
Well, he had a glove on in this one as well.
Yeah, exactly. But full time.
Yeah. So he's got that. He's still with Lyta, seemingly. All these police pieces are put in place. We see Kem again, just briefly at the end. He's actually signing up. Well, I say he's signing up. He is being conscripted into the Sagittari. Zod is now making it mandatory that all the rank lists have to be part of it to build a bigger army. And he's taking command of Krypton. So, we guessed that we're going to get more of these other cities in season 2, and it seems like we will be, and to an extent, because we see the leaders of the other cities there, but maybe not to the extent we thought we were going to, where it's going to be like, okay, now we've got other cities, and they're going to be part of the ongoing debate. Like, we'd have another cities version of our characters we already have. Like, we'd have their head of command, their Sagittari, we'd have conflicts between them. Whereas now it seems like, no, we'll get them in relation to whatever Zod's doing, like,
Yeah, maybe build a resistance against Zod scattered throughout the cities.
I can see that maybe the biggest thing being a resistance of some kind, where, whoever's running the resistance will go to the other cities and we'll meet those types of characters there. I love that,
because up until recently he was the resistance, he was Black Zero.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly how to shut him down.
Well, he was taking assistance from Black Zero. He wasn't actually part of Black Zero.
No, but he was kind of in on it all, right? He knew exactly what was going on with them. He knew where they were operating from. He knows all those secret tunnels now.
And now you've got Jack Sewer working with Val out in the fortress, and Zod knows what that is. Zod's been there now, so I have to wonder, like, are they
and he can get in because he's got the L blood.
That's right. Yeah, it's almost weird that just a week ago we had that revelation that he's Seg's son. And theoretically, we know Seg has to come back because, unless Light is already pregnant. Which she very well possibly could have been, given that he was supposed to disappear in the bottling anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that actually pans out.
Yeah, no. But I think it's possible that she already is.
Which is interesting, though, because there's no other natural births. It's all the codex.
Yes.
And the birthday matrix. So, again...
I think it's funny, because, way back when we heard about this show, it was linked to Man of Steel, right? And the whole thing in Man of Steel was Superman was the first natural birth. No, I think it's funny that if we've taken that, nothing else from that movie has kind of really carried through. Not much, but if we've taken that and then applied it to Zod,
that's interesting.
I think it's an interesting twist of where that's come from.
I know who's going to be leading the resistance. It'll be Jaina.
Probably, yeah.
Jaina might team up with Val and Co. and do their thing. I can see that being where it goes. If they're not all too busy trying to survive Doomsday, which is very possible as well. So they set up some really big stuff for season 2. Like, we got Phantom Zone, we got Zod in charge, we got Doomsday, we got other cities, we got Resistance, we got Future Earth bottled, or at least Detroit.
Yep.
A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to play with. And Brainiac's not off the table for good. Like, Brainiac could come back at any point.
Oh, absolutely. He's just in the Phantom Zone in the minute.
Yeah. In fact, hell, Seg might run into him in there and Probably lands with him actually because he get pulled in by him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they can have a little chat.
I'm sure that'll go down well.
And Brainiac will maybe see some future stuff as well. I mean, who knows? I don't necessarily think Brainiac's going to be like a main character where he's going to have his own arc and whatnot, but you never know. Maybe they'll do some moments.
So it just dawned on me why I don't want Seg just seeing Superman in the future in the Phantom Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like him just seeing it takes away the moment of him, trusting in the future, believing in Adam, having the faith and the hope.
That's fair. I think when I said that, I was simplifying it. I think what I mean more is he will understand the effect of it more than he just sees what Superman himself does.
Right. But even that, I'm not sure I want any of that. I don't know if I want him to just see it for himself, because that's not, if once he sees it, he's like, okay, I understand it now. Whereas before, it's he has to believe in the hope of it, right? Eventually, he has to have faith in the idea without having seen it for himself, and I think that to me is more interesting.
That's still very possible in the Phantom Zone, though.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that necessarily means not. I mean, he could see all the bad things that could happen and then still have hope. That could actually just drive him further in the other direction, because it made Val very cynical. So I wonder if he sees all these dark paths, and maybe it's about believing in the hope that even with Krypton destroyed, there's at least one part of us that's going to carry it forward in some way and do some good.
Yeah, maybe.
Which again, he has to take Adam Strange for his word that all the Superman stuff is true. But no. So regardless of your weird opinions of insisting they don't do certain things next year,
I'm not insisting. There was at no point did I insist.
All right. So that's Krypton finale. Pretty good.
Yep.
So one last thing to talk about then, and that is Young Justice Season 1, Episode 26. It's called Auld Acquaintance. It is the season finale, of course, and it does very much feel like it brings together a lot of different things throughout the season. In terms of what it's doing, because we even at the start of the episode, Batman even talks about, when you guys were first joined the team, and Speedy kind of lashed out and said, no, I'm not doing this. That was all part of this plan. I tell you what, I wasn't expecting though, that this Red Arrow is actually a clone of the real Roy Harper.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I just thought, no, I've just brainwashed the real one. I didn't necessarily think, it's a clone. And the real one's missing an arm.
Well, you gotta clone him from something. Why not do an arm?
Logic. I mean, a pinky would have done it, I think, but...
I mean, sure, but...
Dude, I don't think you need a whole arm, I think you just need a sample of DNA. Unless...
Probably, but... Hey, Cab must be extreme.
Not that I'm an expert on cloning.
I'm pretty sure you just need a cell, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So you got that, and like we sort of expected, this was Teen Titans versus the Justice League. It was basically the Teen Titans have to go in because they're not affected by this Starro tech, which I never mentioned last episode. I don't think they mentioned it was a Starro-based tech.
No, they didn't. It was Batman told them this. Yeah.
So that was a fun little read on it.
I love this whole opening sequence with, Batman coming to them and going, "Hey, he was the mole," but but then he's like, "But it's fine. I deduced he was a clone, so I stopped him before it went too far." We just played along. I'm like, this sounds like a Batman thing to pull out your ass.
Yeah, but he calls them kids at one point, and they're like, "This is fishy."
Yeah.
So they realise that the Justice League are all been taken over. They actually kind of. They put Red Tornado into his new, more human-esque body, and sort of Red Tornado, because he was able to basically put in a backup of himself.
Yeah, because he had a second and a half to put in something.
So he's able to help them. So we have this now bigger team, because we got Zatanna's here now, obviously. We got Icon's sidekick, Rocket. She's around still, and they're all helping. And Red Arrow's there, and he's kind of openly talking about all this. I think I was cloned, I think this, that, and he tells them what's going on. They know about Vandal Savage. So the episode is mostly, and I was really surprised with how little was actually wrapped up, because the light is not done, Vandal Savage is not done, him and Clarion are still around, and they even mention at the end before they run off, we've got phase 2 to get to. So the plot ain't done. I don't know if I love the idea that the light are still a thing going into season 2. I really expected that to be done by the end of the season.
That's fair.
But yeah, so the episode is mainly the Titans running around the Watchtower, or the Hall of Justice, and trying to basically they've got like a cure to like counteract the Star
I love
attack.
the stealth sequence of them all just because they're like, no, we ain't fighting the Justice League. We can't take them on, but they can just creep around enough to get the cure on them.
I mean, Wally cures a lot of them because he super speeds around, taking care of them. I particularly enjoyed when it became Robin and Superboy versus Batman and Superman, whilst they're still being controlled. And like Robin's doing his best, but he can't quite, do it.
It's just not good enough, is it?
Yeah, Superboy can't quite do it either. So they breaks out the kryptonite, and they sort of work as a team to achieve it. And Superman even says good job to Connor, and acknowledges the weird coincidence that he picked the name Connor Kent, despite not knowing that Superman's name is Clark Kent.
Yeah. I mean, it was suggested to him by someone that knew, but
it was, yes. But I like that. I wonder if Superboy even will ever realise. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
they knew when they said that. They knew.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's some fun stuff. Zatanna, obviously, we're still again harkening back to everything that's been going on all season. She's still beat up that her dad's, Dr. Fate right now. All that other stuff. So it was a pretty straightforward episode. It was just lots of fun action stuff with all the various team members having to try and take out. Of course, it hits midnight on New Year's at the end of the episode, and Wally just picks up Artemis and says, "I should have done this a long time ago." And she's like, "Yeah, you should have." And they kiss. And then just for fun, Zatanna grabs Robin. So Dick, of course, appeals to all the ladies because, of course, he does.
Obviously. I did like it early on, though, before Artemis and Wally is the moment where they're told about Roy, and they're all just very upset because they're like, hey, he was our friend, and Zatanna does comfort Robin a bit, and Artemis goes to put her hand on Wally's shoulder and then decides not to.
Yeah, no,
it's like
they've been teasing that all year. I'm excited for season 2 if they're out with it, right? Okay, we like each other, we're a couple. Okay, let's see how that plays. I think there's fun stuff to be had there. But it was a pretty straightforward episode. It was mostly the fight stuff. It was mostly try to basically bring back all the Justice League.
It is, and it works as a season final because it's like, here's your big, massive action beats, right? It's the team versus the league.
Yeah, and they have to outwit them, and they do for the most part. So that's fun. Poor Aqualad not getting a kiss though at midnight. What can I say?
Yeah.
Poor boy. But there is one other little twisty thing that sort of we leave on, is that 6 of the League members, Batman, Superman, Hawkgirl, and a couple other ones, I can't remember all 6 of them, but there's 16 hours of when they were controlled by the Starotech that they can't account for, and they don't know what they did during that time, which seems like it might, come back and bite us all next season with something.
It does, doesn't it? It's like, well, something happened in that 16 hours.
Yeah, what were you setting up? What did you do in that time that maybe makes, Vandal Savage's life easier in doing something later, or whoever else?
I'm really excited to jump into season 2 because season 1 essentially is just laying the groundwork. Like, this is kind of like, okay, here's the setup. Season 2 is where it really hits its stride and gets into some really good plot stuff.
I've heard that. I've actually really liked season 1.
It's very enjoyable while you're watching it. Don't get me wrong, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually it's almost a prologue to the story.
There's a few repetitive elements, but I've been impressed with how serialized it is, with how it's kept things going and brought things back, and
lot of character growth.
Adding to the team members as we go, character growth, as you say. So I've really enjoyed the season. I'm excited, and obviously we'll be starting season 2 next week. We'll be jumping right in, and we'll keep to one episode, I think, while Supergirl's still on. But once Supergirl is done, we will be going back to two a week.
Yes.
To fly through it during the summer. So that'll be fun. But that is Young Justice, the season finale. That does take us on to picking our favourite episode of the week. So we have the Flash finale, we have the Supergirl episode, and we have Krypton finale. So it's the Krypton finale. Why? Because it was really
close.
Good. And debatably, it was maybe even the best episode of the season as well, on top of everything else.
Yeah, maybe. It's up there.
I can't think of one that I like more, actually. Obviously,
I'd have to think about it. I'm kind of, I'm still kind of high on it, and all the things that it's setting up right now. So I'd have to think about it a bit more.
I mean, the Zod reveal was probably the biggest moment of the season, but I think as an episode overall, this had way more in it, packed in.
No, that's fair.
and it was really touching on a lot of ideas. And I don't feel mistreated that they left a lot of things for season 2. I'm like, no, I'm glad they're spreading this out and didn't rush a conclusion out of like half the things that were going on.
At least knowing we're getting a season 2 anyway. Otherwise, it'd have been frustrating.
Yeah, sure, but we got a renewal, so we're fine.
Yeah, we're good.
We're fine. So yeah, Krypton wins. But hey, that's this week's television from the multiverse. Of course, next week again it will be a very different episode because it will be Supergirl, a episode of Smallville, an episode of Lois and Clark, and the next episode of Young Justice. So we're kind of into the off-season content now, barring some more weeks of Supergirl. So hopefully you join us for that. Like and subscribe, all that usual stuff. Get us on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the channel and everything we do here. Get some bonus content and various things. But otherwise, that is us. So, usual stuff. Like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of this week's episodes in the comments. Whether you stand on the Krypton debate, do let us in. I'm sick of Connor winning these debates in the comments. I feel like there's been a few things recently where the commenters all side with you.
They have, because I speak sense.
Not always.
More often than you, apparently.
Only in the last week, right? That's not a big enough pool to really judge that by.
It'll continue. It's fine.
I feel like it's happening there because it's out of the ordinary that you're right. Normally, don't have to say anything because it's just like, of course, Peter's the one speaking sense.
Sure.
Of course it is. But that is television from the multiverse. So yeah, once again, thank you very much for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching superhero TV shows, and always remember to. I was almost said the comics one there. Always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.